Okay. Hi everyone. I just wanted to do this off the cuff review of Smash Brothers series for when Smash Brothers Ultimate comes out. And how about I start my review like I do most of my videos with talking about my personal experience with the series. So back when 2002, maybe three, um, we moved into the house that I'm currently. My parents moved into the house that I'm currently in, and and for a while we were. My mom was doing like a daycare set up here for neighbors, and that was going well for a while. And then she got an actual job. But one of the one of the people that we had over here was another person that liked video games. Um, at the time, we had just gotten a GameCube, and so we were playing a few games, mostly just the games that came with the system. So like Mario Kart and like Super Mario Sunshine. But he would bring over his games as well. And one of the games he brought over was Smash Brothers Melee. And I instantly took a liking to the game, but I didn't really feel a connection to it. Mostly because I didn't sit down, try to unlock everything, and like do everything. But eventually, we got a Nintendo Wii when that first came out. Like we somehow got a Nintendo Wii when this is dating it a little bit. So uh so Hollywood Video was still up and running near where we live, and mostly it was just for us to like rent movies and games and stuff. We had even rented like N64 cards there at some point. It's how we usually played like Pokemon Stadium and stuff. But we had bought a Nintendo Wii there and it was like a first generation Wii. So it was still kind of new when they were out, and we don't even know how we got this thing like so early, but we did. And one of the games that um, we got for it first, besides like um, like uh, Super Mario Galaxy and like again the Mario platform and the Mario Kart racing game. We eventually got Brawl, and Brawl is the game in which I've had the most experience with. Um, Melee's fun. I like watching people play it competitively, just not my thing. No, Brawl though, that was something that I went deep into. I got, I unlocked every character. I went through the story mode, and once I did that, I started, um, I started trying to unlock literally everything I could about the game. And at the end of the day, like it was really fun. Uh, so for context, in in Melee, the amount that I played, I had grown a liking to three characters. He had unlocked all of them, so I was able to play with some of them. And the three characters I played, four technically, were um, yeah, the four characters I played as were Falco, um, Ganondorf, Mr. Game and Watch, and Roy. Um, and those characters, I've basically played them in every single Smash Brothers game, throwing in Pikachu every once in a while. I've been playing Mario in the one for the Wii U. Like like I actually have a picture of my roster up somewhere. Um, I'm thinking of like starting to. I've been adding like a few other characters to my list of characters I'm definitely playing as in Ultimate, and hopefully I like actually make a video on that when the game fully comes out and I have time to actually play it. Um, but Brawl was the game in which I felt I liked a lot. Like the story mode was basically the best part of that. Like you could say like the game felt really floaty and like at the same time kind of slow comparatively to all the other games. But I still feel that nah, it's a good starting game. If you want someone to get into Smash Brothers, that is probably the easiest way to do it because that game teaches you how to do the controls, and then you slowly move them up into faster games. But how about I kind of um, oh, and it uh, this case has got some wear and tear on it, but it definitely wasn't for me. I actually recently bought this game secondhand, um, but I mostly played on the 3DS, so I was more used to the controls on that. But I've just been having a blast, like unlocking all the stuff. I recently got all the characters. I went through classic modes. I still need to unlock everything, and the stuff that they did with trophies in this was really fun. But I'm glad that Sakurai isn't putting them in an ultimate. Like the amount of work that he did with trophies in just this game makes me feel bad for him because like that was a lot of work for something that probably only me is gonna like, or at least people like me who love going out and collecting stuff. Um, but either way, let's talk about each game in the series individually, so I can give my overall impressions of them. And I haven't played anything of Ultimate. I wasn't able to go to any of the like trailer gate parties. I wasn't able to go to E3 or a convention to play that sort of thing. All I basically know is I played a lot of Brawl and I've played a lot of Wii U, and that's basically it. But I will state that like my my playtime uh with the one on the N64 is the least. I have played it like I think 3 times in my life. And all 3 of those times were at a friend's house or at like a convention that I go to. And the game is flawed. Like you can basically see how someone could have fun with it, but with everything that they've added to the game, it feels wrong. It feels so old compared to Wii U. It feels it's clunky. I'm gonna just say that. It's fun to throw in and playing around and how janky it is, but at the end of the day, no. You should probably just like never play it. Um, I'm gonna kind of give the game a bronze. So, and I think that that's honestly the worst of the games, honestly. Um, and then you have Melee. Melee notoriously had a very rushed production cycle, and you can kind of feel it when you're playing it. It's like there are so many glitches and bugs in the game, and how the characters move doesn't feel natural. Um, and everything that people love about Melee is literally because there are bugs in the game. If they were to release an HD um, Melee remaster, all of those glitches will be gone and no one would play it because the game at that point would just be a really fast but clunky game. Um, they brought back the single player mode, called it Classic. That was fun. And when you um, and so when you defeat Classic mode with a character, you get a little trophy of that character, and you can collect all of these trophies in various different ways, either by playing Adventure mode, which I'll get to, um, playing the little It's not a pachinko machine. It's a gachapon machine in which it's like, oh, I'm gonna just shove more coins into the system so I have better luck. And it's like, put like 20 coins into it like 3 times in a row and get nothing. So it was the epitome of a Japanese quarter eater. So, but the game was fun. Once you unlock all the characters, you get All Star mode, in which you get a trophy of their alternate colors, of their color too, which is really cool because it means that um, you have one trophy that talks about their aim, their moves tied to the A button, and a trophy talking about all the moves that are dedicated to their B button, and then you have a special trophy that you get for going through adventure mode that talks about their smash moves. I could be wrong with the description of it. I haven't played the game in so long, and I don't actually have a copy on me because those things sell for like $100 at this point. No, seriously, I actually walked into an old uh, video store with a CD, and sitting there in a display case is a mostly undamaged case, an underplayed copy of Melee for like $120, and I'm sitting there, was like, that's coveted. Um, but yeah, it's like the fact that people actually put the game literally on a pedestal a lot of the times is clear. But I want to talk about the most important aspect of the game, which is the adventure. So this adventure mode, um, if you hear something in the background, it's me just like slowly peeling off the sticker off the back from GameStop. Um, so the adventure mode starts you out in a place that kind of looks like a Mario map, and you instantly get what you were doing. You're going through worlds that are thematically similar to characters that you have um, that are in the roster. So it's like, hey, you remember that part of Super Metroid where you're running out of the area really fast? Just play that. Hey, you remember this aspect of this game? We're gonna represent it, and you can tell that this is where Sakurai put most of his attention into. Um, for instance, he made a seemingly roguelike um, part of the adventure mode in which you can go to different areas of this Zelda dungeon, run into enemies, they try to hurt you, and you're trying to find the Triforce in this area, and it's randomized of like which one is which, and so you always kind of get lost in it if you don't know what to do. Um, and it was really fun. That mode made a lot of the times that I was playing it enjoyable. Like I wouldn't play anything else. It's like I I I think I went through the adventure mode with Falco like I think 30 times in like one weekend at one point. Like it was so fun to go through that adventure mode because it showed that it's trying to represent every single universe game is including at once. And he wanted to do something like that again in Brawl. So Melee, I'm gonna give a silver. Not I'm gonna give it a silver just because the game is so buggy that I have to like kind of deduct points from it. But the um, but the goodness is still there, you know. Um, Probably also gonna give silver to Brawl as well because of it in the opposite direction. Um, Again, the adventure mode is basically all I play. Um, once you So, in the Subspace Emissary, the adventure mode of the game, along with Classic and All Star mode that you have again, oh, I forgot to mention the stadiums, the stadium. modes where it's like, hey, hit this beanbag. Okay, this is kind of neat. Hit all of these characters. Oh, that's kind of neat. Uh, do these events, and I'm like, these are cool modes, but I have no reason to actually play them. And it always felt like they kind of went to the wayside, and I never touched them unless I really needed to in Melee and Brawl. So, but in Brawl, like, classic mode was classic mode. Um, and All Star mode was pretty cool, but at the end of the day, I played Subspace Emissary. Um, when I got the game, it actually came with a player's guide, and in the player's guide, it told me how to get through every level. Um, I know it's not the best way to go through a game first time is to literally be handheld all the way through it, but I only opened up the guide to 100% levels. So me and my little brother um, would sat down in co-op mode and went through the game the first time, and then beat the game on, and then played through it at 100%. And uh, and when I went through everything and got everything in it, it was really fun. But how about we actually talk about the story now? So going from the very beginning, you have all of these characters doing stuff. You have like Mario and Kirby being in a competition to see who's better, as sort of like an homage to the opening in '64. You have um, you have Pit from the Kid Icarus series, kind of like looking at him, like cheering him on. You have Peach and Zelda kind of administering things. When all of a sudden, uh, the halberd flies over and just drops all these guys down to fight you. These are enemies that have never been from any of these worlds. They're completely original to Subspace, and it's supposed to make you feel like these things don't belong. Like in a series that's supposed to take a lot of inspiration from many different worlds, these characters stand out. They're grotesque, they're creepy, and a lot of the times they're very strange. And they don't fit precisely in any distinct world. So whenever a character goes up to them, you could feel that they don't belong. Like, um, and then it's and then when Mario's kind of knocked out and Kirby has to basically save one of the princesses, here we get to an actually really cool part of the game. So you can save Zelda or Peach, and depending on which one you save, it actually alters several cutscenes down the road. And you can, and there are multiple moments like this where it's like, hey, Lucario and Meta Knight are fighting up on top of a mountain, and you can actually decide who you want to play as, and that that kind of aspect of there are different mini games, oh, mini games. There were different possibilities for like different interactions, and I love that. It caused the cutscenes to actually become kind of interesting because it felt like I was actually doing stuff. And even though those are the only two moments where this actually happened, it still felt like I had input in how the actual story went about, especially with how how much shifts because Zelda or Peach is saved by Kirby and they escape trying to get onto the halberd. Meanwhile, Wario shows up and takes possession of the other person. And here the story kind of gets started, kind of convoluted. You have Link and Yoshi um, going about their thing and eventually teaming up with Mario and Pit. Uh, you have you have Kirby, who also gets kind of lumped into this group at one point, those little princes get captured. But on the other side of everything, you have Donkey Kong, um, kind of knocks Diddy out of the way of a blast. So Donkey Kong gets captured, and Diddy teams up with both Fox and Falco, going on a grand adventure with them to, um, they call it like they call it like some sort of like ancient like land ancients or something, but it's Angel Island from Sonic series. Is basically what it is, and on I'm going to refer to it as Angel Island. You have you have Pikachu and Samus who are trying to get Samus's outfit back. Because right now she's in Zero Suit mode and she's trying to become full Samus. And they're going about they team up with Captain Falcon and Olimar as they're trying to escape this facility. And you have the Star Fox guys with the Diddy trying to save Donkey Kong. They all meet together, and it turns out, um, um, and they're trying to escape this facility now. And then you have the third kind of subplot that's going on, in which it's uh, Lucas from Mother 3 is saved by Ness, so he's not captured. But because it's Lucas, he's kind of timid about everything, and he meets up with the Pokemon trainer, who's Red. So I'm going to just refer to him as Red the whole time. So Lucas and Red start traveling because Red wants to find Ivysaur and and Charizard because he only has Squirtle. And once he has all three, he has a full deck to work with. Meanwhile, you have Meta Knight teaming up with Marth and Ike, who are um, and all the groups have kind of met this person, but they are directly following um, the ancient minister, who is a person who basically places down these bombs for these little ROV buddies to basically explode themselves in a kamikaze kind of bomb to pull all of the surrounding area into this void. And every single time it does it, it kind of shows you that, hey, the Robs are kind of sacrificing themselves to blow these things up, sometimes against the wishes of the ancient minister. And so you have these three, and you have these three villains who are kind of working against the group, working against um, I'm going to call the three groups Mario's team, Lucas's team, and Samus's team, because they're sort of the main players in all of them. So in Mario's team, you have Bowser running around um, trying to do stuff, but DDD shows up, and DDD starts capturing different characters for various reasons, and Bowser shows up to take Peach back to the Halberd. Meanwhile, on Angel Island, you have Ganondorf showing up, and he is directing the Robs to blow up the entire facility, in which the ancient minister reveals himself to be the original robotic operating buddy, or Rob for short. So these Rob units are all blowing themselves up, and the original robotic operating buddy goes with that group to escape the facility, um, which they have a little bit of trouble getting out because Ridley's there as a boss, and so you have to take him out. Meanwhile, you have Wario, who isn't that effective. He captured one kid over in Lucas's story, um, but he is still kind of that villain. But their entire goal, when uh, when Lucas and Red team up with Meta Knight and the Fire Emblem guys, they now have a mission to climb up this peak to get to the halberd, which is currently under attack by the Great Fox. So, and so you kind of have this small splinter group where Meta Knight climbs up the mountain, finds ice climbers and Lucario, and both of them go on. Oh wait, ice climbers fall back down. So I guess they meet up with Lucas's group. So how about so with Lucas's group and then the smaller group, which is Meta Knight's group, go on to the halberd. So uh, so the Star Fox guys leave Diddy on the facility to go attack the halberd. The two princesses are there, and they're making shadow clones of both of the characters. And Meta Knight finds Snake from the Metal Gear series, trying to sneak around the halberd. So they kind of add them to their group as they break out. The princesses, Fox and Falco, show up on the halberd, and they're all fighting a guy called Duwan. Oh, I forgot. Lucas defeats Lucas and Red defeat Galleon, who was already weakened by Meta Knight, so they fell in and they defeated Galleon. Uh, what other bosses have been forgetting? Lucas and Ed fight Porky Minch in his little like spider robot from 3. Uh, is it the same character? I think. Yeah, they refer to him as Porky because that was his actual name in the series. Um, uh, Diddy Kong fights Rayquaza, and what was the other? Oh yeah, Kirby takes out P. Piranha, but that's essentially it. Uh, you then have a moment in which you have um, Duon up on the halberd get destroyed, basically dismantling back into small little Game & Watches, in which they basically welcome Game & Watch to the group. They're able to land the halberd because Meta Knight's now back in control of his ship. And all 4 of these groups, all 3 of the groups converge onto Lucas's group. And at that moment, we are introduced to the main bad guy of this, who is known only as Taboo, spelled with 2 U's. And while Ganondorf and Bowser are readying this cannon to create even more of these pockets of void that have and the cannon spawns out of the Angel Island that turned into a massive orb in the sky. You have so the defeat cannon, probably one of the best cutscenes of the actual adventure mode, and all of the group, this massive group of people in one shot, just walk into what is known as subspace. And in Subspace, they are soundly defeated by Taboo. The only people that weren't defeated were the people that King Dedede had rescued earlier. So you have um, Luigi, Ness, both of which Luigi and Ness, and you have Dedede himself, and you have Kirby because he swallowed one of the little amulets that Dedede had been putting onto the statues. And as that group of the 4 heroes, you have to refine the trophies of all the other characters. And with all those characters now collected, plus the 3 villains, you are now given to the Great Maze. So this Great Maze is the reason why I got this guide, or at least the reason why I needed this guide. There are so many twists and turns. There's so many areas, each linking to different areas that you've been into before that have been swallowed up by this void, and it's all this like labyrinth. And in the dead center is Taboo. You need to defeat enough shadow characters um, of each of the characters that you have to open up the door. And when you open up the door, you fight Taboo. And then Sonic the Hedgehog pops up out of nowhere because he was implemented at the last second. So they couldn't really put him into the story mode fully because they didn't know if they were actually going to be able to include him. But with Sonic's help, I guess I didn't use him, but with Sonic's help, they defeat Taboo. They all sit on the precipice to adventure, or wherever the heck that cliff is actually called, Dover, wherever. Um, so they're sitting there, and the game ends, and you could go back and you could unlock a Wolf, Jigglypuff, and Tooling. And there, you've unlocked all the characters. Subspace is a great way to unlock all these characters because you are forced to essentially play with these characters. And whether you like it or not, you kind of learn how to use them. And that was really great about Brawl. And I'm gonna have to say, even though people like to say like Brawl's a bad game, I'm gonna have to give Brawl a gold. And it's mostly because at the end of the day, it teaches you how to play each character. And then we get to Wii U. The 3DS and the Wii U game was weird. They eliminated a lot of the characters that people kind of liked. They added new characters that were either really bad or really good. And at the end of the day, they tried to make Melee again. They wanted it to be just as fast. They wanted it to be just as interesting. They added all these modes like Smash Run. They added a brand new classic mode so you can design your own fate. They wanted to add uh, custom characters with the Mii's, but in doing that, they also gave different characters move sets, which aren't there for DLC characters. So the DLC characters didn't get it because everyone kind of didn't like it. At the end of the day, Wii U's great. But I'm gonna have to give it a silver because it doesn't do enough. Like, this is how little I have to talk about. Okay, I'm back. I actually forgot where I was. But in Smash for Wii U and 3DS, there isn't that much content, and it feels weird. There's so many modes, there's so many things, but there's not that many modes I want to go back to. After unlocking Pac-Land by playing each of the Smash, um, the Mario Party-esque mode never want to touch it again. It's a terrible mode and it was a bad idea. Um, um, Classic mode is different, even though it gives you different paths. It doesn't feel right. Um, Although it is a great way to unlock some stuff, and it is kind of neat that like you can move the slider over with more money that you're like investing into it. Like, hey, I want to do a game that's this hard. I want to do it, or adding some money to it, be like, hey, I want to do a game that's this easy, so I can get the challenge of don't die. I'm still working on that for the Little Mac, but at the end of the day, some of the modes just feel kind of lackluster, and you can definitely tell with the one for the Wii U and for the 3DS. Um, its biggest draw was the fact that there were new characters, and it's trying to basically cater to its competitive audience, and it catered to it very well. Um, Game, I wouldn't want to say the game is bad. I want to say that the game is lackluster, which again is kind of the opposite of how I feel with Melee. There was so little to do in Melee that everything felt great. Like I'm actually gonna like when I probably end, I'm probably gonna put money down to get the digital version of um, Smash Ultimate on my Switch, and I like never pre-order games, but I kind of just wanted to have the game pre-downloaded for when I get off of work, when the game comes out, and just instantly start playing it. Like that is literally my only reason for wanting to purchase the game early. Like, and like the only two games I've ever actually like pre-ordered and actually felt good about it was literally uh, Pokemon Let's Go, because I got that map right up there. Might switch it over to the other side of it. It's kind of glossy, so as it might reflect the light a little bit too much. And Smash Ultimate, which does even which both of them are for two different reasons. One is that I want Smash Ultimate the day of, and it's going to be kind of hard to find a physical copy of it. And Let's Go Pikachu, because I got a hardware bundle, and you should always pre-order hardware because that might be a little bit hard to come by for stocking reasons. Yeah, so I'm sitting there and I'm giving um, Smash Brothers Wii U silver as well. Um, yeah, like probably my favorite thing about Smash for Wii U is the trophy boxes. It's where it's like, hey, here is thematically a box of trophies, like a little display case of trophies, and when you complete it, like a little gold label just appears on it. I'm like, oh, that's really cool. Like, it's something that I like as a collector, but I can feel that probably people put no time into it. And I could feel why Sakurai wanted to move away from that in Smash Ultimate. He kind of made it known that you don't need to collect these stickers. Um, well, I call them stickers, but you don't need to collect the spirits because they're all going to be cataloged of like which one you have. Um, so don't feel bad about like getting rid of it or something. But I do feel like with the fact that some of them evolve, some of them have like special abilities, some of them actually like do certain stuff, and I feel like that the ones that you get from, and it sounds like you can replay World of Light several times to get those spirits back from the actual like gameplay, but that's going to be terrible the ones later on in the game. like accidentally get rid of one. Like again, this is why I kind of want to do a first impressions of it. I'm gonna go through story mode, get story mode done, probably by the weekend after the game comes out, not the exact weekend, but the weekend afterwards, because I'll have enough time playing it, seeing other people of how they feel about it, and like formulate my own opinion. And at the end of the day, I like Smash Bros. I'm gonna give the entire series a gold because of how much it has done in the world. Like people can just say, "Hey, do you want to play Smash Brothers?" And there are people that you would not expect to instantly go like, "Yeah, let's play Smash." And it's like, again, there are people that like Brawl, there are people that like Melee, there are people that like Wii U, there are people that play the N64 version, and everyone is entitled to their opinion on it. And it's why it's so great because you can have people who are like, "I play Olimar." Why? And it's like because Olimar's a great character. I like his series that he's from, and I like how he plays. And that's someone's opinion. This entire game series is about wearing your opinion on your sleeve. That's why I like it. Why I personally like this game. And so I've got to give this series a gold, even though I feel like um, the most recent game is kind of lackluster, and I haven't seen the new one yet, but I definitely know that new one is going to be probably somewhere up in a gold, and that's just from things that I have seen in it. Like, I'm the type of person that are going to be like, send these guys out, train these guys. Okay, I gotta get to work, set the switch down, come back when I get back from work. It's like, it's been 10 hours since I left these, so they're done now. World of Light looks really cool. Again, I'm gonna make a first impressions of it, so I'll probably see you when that happens. Thanks for watching this incredibly long, rambly video. Hope you like.